This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the science fiction podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I've got Chapter 15 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on the way on this episode. Episode 801. I don't usually, talk about what number episode it is until it's a big number, so I probably won't mention it again for a bit. But I will mention what's happening in the story so far. Alibi Jones just visited the watery world Kee'ere of the Kee'Klick, attempting to establish diplomatic and commercial relations for the Solar Alliance. But representatives of the Greater Tah, evidently the Tectar are just like little peons in this Greater Tah. Well, the Greater Tah seem to pose a greater threat than the Solar Alliance realizes. But will the Solar Alliance believe Alibi Jones? We'll see in Chapter 15 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, coming up on Glow in the Dark Radio. As far as book news goes, I don't have a ton to share this week. Of course, I was sharing a whole bunch of stuff last week, and I'll keep some of those links in the show notes. If you're looking to get physical copies or even the ebooks or audiobooks. And again, I want to thank my patrons who have been here for so long, supporting the show and keeping things going, because everything costs now, and everything's going up all the time. Website costs and hosting costs and everything. But I do have a handful of very loyal and very helpful patrons who help bring you the show. If you're not a patron, they are helping take care of you. So you should thank them too. Just saying. You can become a patron for $2, $5, or $10 a month and help support the show, and do the same at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. If you're not familiar with it, Patreon is a site that kind of does this for all kinds of creators, so I use it to set up memberships to support the show. So again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And once again, thank you to my patrons who do support the show already. I guess in terms of news, I should mention again that I've got a new Glow in the Dark Radio Substack, which I set up mostly to have an archive for the old Medium articles, because I'm going to get off of Medium pretty soon here. And patrons get a paid subscription for free to the Substack. But yeah, you can check that out. There is a new Glow in the Dark Radio Substack at glowinthedarkradio.substack.com. Well, let's see what kind of greeting awaits Alibi Jones as he heads back to the Solar Alliance after things didn't quite work out the way people would have hoped on Kee'ere. We've got Chapter 15 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her coming up next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
The Flash Pulp Podcast. 3 to 10 minutes of fiction brought to you thrice weekly. Now it's three apocalypses in one.
Yeah!
Suffering from tough, stuck-on humans? Well, 20 hellish hours of suffocation in the all-encompassing web of Karwick the Spider God will get them right out. Too many brains lying around? The ravenous mouths surrounding zombie-fighting Ruby will quickly clean those up. Nosy neighbors, infect them with the murder plague, and watch as they dissolve into paranoid maniacs bent on the preemptive assassination of their friends and family. Why stop at one end of the world when you can have all three? You can find them all at flashpulp.com or search for them on iTunes.
Now here's Chapter 15 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Failure! Brandywine's voice rings in Alibi's memory. I let them convince me. You should be given this chance. Your stellar reputation! Ha! The woman relished the opportunity to take him down. The collapse of the negotiations with the Kee'Klick gave her the chance. She laughed off his recommendations on the Greater Tah as elaborate ass covering. They won't get passed up to Central Command. Publicly, the Greater Tah claim Alibi misinterpreted the wishes of the Kee'Klick. Brandywine demoted him, revoked his flight privileges, and stripped him of his cruiser. Then she reassigned him to Sloan, a human outpost in Flay's territory, for the next 6 months. No more assignment on Cat's Eye for Alibi. He's forced to lock up his apartment for the time being, sealing it for future use, hopefully. Alibi is now en route to his new assignment as Trade Inspector for the Mediation Corps on Sloan, not quite technically even inside of the Solar Alliance. His Aunt Anita told him even her hands were tied. She'd done all she could for him. He's on his own.
Here I thought the Greater Tah were a threat to the Solar Alliance. Silly me. Turns out they're just out to destroy my career. 6 months. 6 months in the backest backwater Brandywine could find for me. Can't wait to get there.
Left relying on commercial flights, it takes Alibi 3 transspace jumps to get to Sloan. The last leg is the worst, on a small freighter also carrying livestock. The smell of the animals and their wastes permeates everything on the small ship. The only thing worse is the odor of the atmosphere of Sloan when he finally arrives. You get used to it, one of the crew assures Alibi as he disembarks. Alibi's nose wrinkles up at the olfactory assault. Sulfur works and methane volcanoes. Nice place, the woman from the crew says with a laugh. It's not so bad in the town itself. They built the spaceport right next to one of the sulfur works, but it's better up in the settlement. Great. I've got to work here at the port, Alibi tells her. Ew, she groans with some sympathy in her voice. Sorry. Thanks, I guess, he says. Do you know where the Solar Alliance Interplanetary Forces base is located? Follow your nose, she jokes. It's over there. She points off to her left. Right next to the sulfur works. Thanks, he nods. Who did you piss off? She asks, as Alibi begins to walk off towards the safe office. My boss, he explains over his shoulder as he leaves. Nice boss, she says, sarcasm heavy in her tone. Alibi turns and walks backwards so he can finish his thought facing her. Hey, good luck getting the livestock stench off your ship. She laughs. Touché. Guess both of our bosses have us in the stink. Alibi wheels back around and walks on towards his new assignment. Alibi's first 2 months on Sloan go by slowly. There's not a lot of traffic at the distant outpost. His job on Sloan isn't hard, just monotonous. He's a pencil pusher, a glorified cargo inspector. He certifies that people are following the rules the Mediation Corps negotiated into place. Sloan is outside of Solar Alliance space, yet Alibi finds himself enforcing laws he himself helped to create.
Brandywine probably did that on purpose, too. The failure of those negotiations with the Kee'Klick was not my fault. The SA should have known the Greater Tah were there, willing to scuttle anything we came up with the Kee'Klick. Bet Brandywine knew the Greater Tah were there. Almost certain she set me up on purpose so she could finally punish me. Fucking bitch.
Alibi punches the clock and does his best to keep a low profile, trying to serve out his time and punishment and hoping to get used to the smell of the place. Drinking at the local dive bar seems to help. That's bullshit. Or just plain wishful thinking, the old guy sitting next to him at the bar says to Alibi. Still not used to it, he says. You never get used to it. Don't care what they told you. You kinda adapt to it, but it's always there. The Sloan Saloon is a seedy but friendly human haunt in the town, the small human settlement on the planet Sloan. Alibi found it during his first week on the planet, and quickly became a regular. He's taken to spending most of his after-work hours at the place. Feels a little like an after-school club for grown-ups. The old guy is new in the place, or at least new to Alibi. "How long have you been here?" the man asks Alibi. 2 months. "Used to it yet?" "Not really," Alibi says. "Maybe for a second until I think about it. Then I smell it again." "See?" The gray-haired man drains his pint glass with a final gulp and hits up the bartender for another. "You from around here?" Alibi asks him. "Haven't seen you here at the saloon before." "Oh, look who thinks he's a regular!" The old man laughs. "I stop in here every time I get to Sloan, which is more often than I'd like. This place stinks." He laughs again at his own mild joke. There's something about the guy that seems sort of familiar to Alibi. Alibi finds himself staring at the guy, trying to figure out why. "You're doing it, aren't you?" the old man challenges him. "Doing what?" "Trying to figure out where you know me from," the man explains. "Aren't you?" "Have we met?" Alibi asks him. "Oh, yeah." "Really?" "Name's Brady Thomas. Ring a bell?" The gray-haired man straightens up and stops squinting. Alibi notices there's makeup on his face. He sees past it to the man he'd met on Depot. "I didn't recognize you at all!" he exclaims, surprised. The man smiles, then grimaces. "Helping you out was a big mistake, kid," Thomas tells him. "I can't go anywhere near Depot now. Even Cat's Eye is off limits. Kee'ere and Singh have a lot of friends there, too. So I've been out here in the borderlands, in disguise." "What are you doing these days, Brady?" Alibi asks. "Whatever I need to," Brady says. "Repossessing things, people sometimes. Kind of a combination private investigator and bounty hunter these days." "Nice gig," Alibi cracks, sarcastic. "And you're working here?" Thomas points out. "Don't think you should be talking so much about what other people do for a living. Just saying." "Okay, touche," Alibi concedes. "So, you still kill people?" "Hey!" Thomas protests, pushing himself up and away from Alibi. "Don't be so nosy, kid." The man turns in anger and begins to leave the bar, stopping just long enough to call back to the bartender. "Charge my account, tender." "Gotcha," the bartender replies. He looks from the departing Brady Thomas back over to Alibi. "Drink up, kid. You're done for tonight." "What? You're cutting me off?" Alibi protests. "Don't push it. Don't want to have to ban you, kid," the bartender cautions. "Go home, and don't ask strangers so many questions from now on. Not in here, anyway. That ain't a healthy practice here on Sloan." Alibi sighs as he stands up. He's not a "Fine. Charge my account," he tells the bartender. "Please," he adds, thinking twice about it. "Sorry." Alibi sulks home, calling it an early night.
I hate this place.
Instead of hitting the saloon, he goes straight home after work the next few evenings. He doesn't feel like it's quite as much his after-school club, since the bartender took Thomas's side. Sitting at home gives him too much time to think about getting off Sloan, too much time to contemplate the failure of the negotiations with the Kee'Klick.
Aunt Anita says just put up with it for now. Tells me she's working on it. Not everyone sees the Greater Tah as a threat, Alibi. Even those in the government who do don't necessarily admit it. Not in public at any rate. We are still hoping to negotiate with them. They seem to understand the concept of negotiation better than the Tah did.
Funny how vividly I still hear my aunt in my head.
I don't like the Greater Tah. Don't trust them either. Their rage for order. Blame them for the failure of the negotiations. Blame them for the breakdown. No, I take it back. Blame Brandywine. Woman hates me and set me up to fail, obviously. And blame everyone who doesn't see the threat posed by the Greater Tah. Still hear the Greater Tah in my head pretty clearly, too. The human propensity for disorder is troubling to the Greater Tah. Your race's chaotic ways have been a disorderly influence upon the Dakur.
Grave news breaks across known space at the end of the week. The actions of the Greater Tah vindicate Alibi and his warnings. Not that most people care about him and his career in light of events. While Alibi appreciates the fact that his failure on Kee'ere is now put in perspective, he too is more appalled to hear of the Greater Tah's latest astropolitical move. The Greater Tah has forcibly annexed Kee'ere space.
That was Chapter 15 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio. Well, it looks like the Solar Alliance lost out at a chance at an early warning on the Greater Tah's ambitions, thanks to Brandywine's pettiness and her seeming need to punish Alibi Jones. Of course, Alibi's Aunt Anita has known what was going on and may have initiated her own sort of response, surreptitiously, let's say. But poor Alibi Jones gets stuck out in the middle of nowhere at that planet Sloan. Not a planet I'd like to visit, actually. Funny how Alibi ran into Brady Thomas there. In disguise. But now, yes, the Greater Tah have taken over Kee'ere space. They've taken over her. And we'll see if Alibi Jones is vindicated in our next chapter, Chapter 16, of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, on our next episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. And again, thank you to patrons for supporting the podcast. And if you're interested in learning more, head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And if you want to check out the new Glow in the Dark Radio Substack, head to glowinthedarkradio.substack.com. And that is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2025 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.